Celebrity voice impersonation not an endorsement.
Why go to a single furniture store when you can go to Big Sandy Superstore? Shop and compare America's top 5 mattress brands, plus Nectar and Purple. And choose from over 22,000 in-stock appliances from the top brands at the guaranteed lowest price. Or furnish the room of your dreams with a large selection of American-built furniture. With financing plans for just about anyone, there's nowhere else quite like it. Big Sandy Superstore.
This is the smell of the leftover tuna fish sandwich you left in your lunchbox over the weekend in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech! And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Ah, smell the difference? Hefty Ultra Strong has Arm & Hammer with continuous odor control, so no matter what's inside your trash, you can stay one step ahead of stinky. And for bigger jobs, try the superior strength of Hefty Large Black Bags.
The following podcast is a Green Fresh Media production. Hello, good morning, angels, and welcome back to Morning Ray. I'm your host, Alana, and I think you are going to really like today's episode. I have Grieve. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. I'm very sorry, Allie, if I'm pronouncing her last name wrong. But I love Allie. She is a Toronto-based influencer. We're talking about taking Instagram seriously, quitting your 9-to-5, and just running with it and being a boss. We're not going to say girl boss over here. We're just bosses. We're not putting girl in front of it. But it's a really good episode. I think you're really going to like it. But let's get into our weekly intentions. I don't have any life updates because I'm recording this back-to-back with the intro for last week's episode. So if you want to know life updates and you missed last week's episode, go listen to that. I'll have life updates for you for next week's episode, which will be a solo ep. So definitely stay tuned for that. But actually, when you're listening to this, I think you will be listening to this the week of the 31st, which means I will be about to go on vacation for the first time in like 2 years. So that's really exciting. I will be going to Jamaica. So there's my life update for you. But my weekly intention for this week is going to be to not procrastinate and to actually do things ahead of time and to think of my future self. I feel like I've gotten into such a habit of procrastinating things, especially when it comes to doing work for brand partnerships. I'm never late with anything, but I definitely do push the limits and it makes me stressful. And I know I feel good when I get things done early. And I used to do that with school. So I want to start doing it with my own work. And I think it's really important to take things seriously. So my weekly intention is to stop procrastinating and to create a schedule for my, so then that leads me into my tip of the week is to create a schedule for myself so that I don't procrastinate and really be disciplined. And so that I don't and find ways to motivate myself so that I don't procrastinate. If you find yourself procrastinating, try to figure out what times you work best in doing those certain tasks. So if you work out better in the morning because your willpower is higher and you're not going to procrastinate before your workout, change your workouts to the morning over the afternoon or evening. Maybe you read better at night before bed. Then schedule time in to get into bed earlier so that you can read. But really think of your future self. Then current faves. How can I make these different from last week? Wow, this is really hard recording in advance. I do have some other current faves that I have not discussed yet. So I'm currently obsessed with YouTube and TikTok again. I'm very into uploading on YouTube, but also watching YouTube all over again. I'm unpopular opinion, back in love with Maggie McDonald. She's like a different person over here. She's fully had like a glow up in terms of like maturity and everything. And like, I love her again. To be honest, I'm unsubscribed from her in like March or April of 2020 and started watching her again on Vlogmas and absolutely love her. Nothing against her when I unsubscribed her. I wasn't really like connecting with her content anymore. It was no longer serving me, and that's totally okay to unsubscribe. No hate to her, but I'm back in love with her and I love her vlogs. I actually will say a few favorite YouTubers that I really like right now because I feel like that's something I'm always asked. I'm really into Caitlin Nolan, obviously, love you, bestie. I'm really into Rachel Ratke, Maggie McDonald, JC Marie. Am I forgetting anyone? Lauren Elizabeth, Claudia Salewski, also there. Getting back into Kenzie Elizabeth. But really like, oh, and Margot Lee. Love Margot. So definitely love Margot. Love her travel series right now. Loving that. Maggie, Rachel, JC, and Caitlin. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode of Morning Ray, and let's bring Allie onto the pod. I think there's going to be so many tangible takeaways for you to take, and I think you're really going to enjoy this episode and appreciate it. So I'm here with Allie. Welcome to Morning Ray.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. I feel like we were just saying this, like this has been a long time coming. It's been a lot of rescheduling, especially on my part. But we're finally doing it.
No, I'm so excited. And like I was mentioning earlier, I remember chatting about even like rooming together. So I feel like I've known you for so long, and like now 6 months later, we're actually meeting and chatting. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, same. Oh my God, I totally forgot about all of that. That was like a whole other chapter of life.
I know, it feels like a year ago when it was only, September or something, like August? Yeah.
It was like August? Yeah, I moved in August and then you moved like a few weeks later. Crazy. Oh my God.
I know, time flies.
But for those who don't know you, who are you? Where are you from? And what is your zodiac sign?
Okay, so my name's Allie. I'm 23 years old. I grew up in Kelowna, BC, and then I've lived in Toronto for the last year and a half. I work full-time right now for a beauty and skincare company, and then on the side, I have my side hustle of creating fashion and lifestyle content on Instagram and TikTok, and my zodiac sign is I'm a Libra.
Ooh, a Libra. I don't know if I have any Libra friends, but I know my rising is Libra. So maybe that's why we click. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not too into like all the astrology, and I don't know any of like the moon rising stuff. But it's something I want to learn more about because I hear people talk about it all the time, and I can never contribute.
Download the app CoStar. Although I've been told it's very controversial. I don't know. I can't speak today. I can never speak. That's how I figured it out. But I also don't know the exact. It's like based on like your location that you were born and the time you were born. And apparently, I don't know too much. I only know because I listen to a bunch of podcasts that like talk about it a lot. Apparently, like one of the signs like changes like on a 2-hour basis. So like my chart could be so wrong, but my CoStar app has told me I'm a Leo sun. Everyone knows like their sun sign, unless you're a boy, then you don't really know.
Except me, I don't know.
And then Libra is your sun sign, and then your moon, like my moon is Gemini, so moon controls like your emotions and the way you communicate. And then rising sign, I forgot what rising means, but my rising sign is apparently Libra, or it could be wrong because I'm pretty sure your rising sign is based on like the time you're born. So I think I'm born at like 11 a.m. I'm not really sure.
So your sun is just when you're born. Like that's how I know I'm Libra. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's like your month and your day. Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Little astrology TED Talk for you.
No, that's perfect.
But anyways, okay, so you mentioned how influencing is your side hustle. Talk to me a little bit about like how you got started, what made you want to like start posting, what made you decide like to do like fashion, like give me like the whole backstory, like your elevator pitch when someone asks you, because I know you have one.
So I think I was first introduced to social media when I was probably like 12 years old, and it was with YouTube. And I remember watching makeup tutorials with my sister who was older, so she had like her own computer, and we would watch makeup tutorials together. And I remember thinking it was like the coolest thing, and like it'd be so fun to do, and I never knew they made money from it. But I never like executed on like wanting to do it because I was so concerned with like what people would think or like being judged. Like I was elementary, middle school, so I never actually did anything. And then in high school and university, I think I talked about it so much, and that's with the rise of Instagram. I kind of learned more away from like YouTubers, but more of like the blogger side. And I was just so fascinated with it. And like a few of my roommates knew or like went to high school with some like big now bloggers. So they all had all this insider scoop. And I was like, wow, like that is so cool. They love fashion. Like I personally love fashion forever. So being able to like share your passion on the internet and build an audience and even make a career out of it was so fascinating to me. And then I graduated last year. So I was a 2020 COVID grad, and I graduated, had no job, had nothing to do. And it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, because it was like, if I want to do this and see if I could ever take on social media and like really pursue it, it's going to be now or never. So I sort of just jumped right into it. I kind of went all for it. I felt like I had nothing to lose. I didn't even have like a proper job. And I was just enjoying the summer and like posting a whole bunch. And I got a little bit of momentum at the beginning, not a whole lot, but I really kept with it. And then 2021 is really when I've seen like growth and like actual potential with it. So yeah, it's been a good year and a half of like hustling and trying to figure out social media.
I feel like as soon as you figure it out, it changes. But I feel like that's what makes it addicting and like
Oh,
fun, and always like it never gets boring because you can always switch it up. You can always reinvent yourself. You can always create different content, whether it be like something totally innovative or it can be taking on a trend. What would you say is your favorite platform?
ooh, I think I like TikTok because I don't feel as much pressure. Like you can pull out your
Yes.
phone, no makeup, just speak your mind and just post and like no thought. But I love Instagram because I love creating the photos and putting my feed together. Like I get so much joy out of like putting like a nice feed together and putting my outfits together. So it's really hard. But if I would have to pick one, honestly, I think I would go with Instagram. I just feel like that's where like my full passion is. And I struggle a little bit with video content. I'm not as confident as I wish I was. So yeah, I think I would say Instagram.
Yeah, I feel like Instagram is definitely my baby. It's where I started. I also fell in love with social media around like the age of 12. I was watching YouTube videos like Bethany Moda, Claudia Sulewski, Makeup by Mandy 24, like all the OGs. Like I still
My
watch all of them. Not Bethany Moda. Like I don't really watch her anymore, although she does come up on my TikTok For You page sometimes.
That's so
My
funny.
but you used to watch it with your sister. My sister used to make fun of me because my sister is 8 years older than me. So like it was like kind of like past her, like her generation didn't really get into it. And she would make fun of me for watching all these beauty and fashion videos. And then when she started having all her friends' weddings, she's like, Alana, can you do my makeup? Can you do my hair? And I'm like, sure. I'm like, I only know this because of the videos you used to make fun of me for like watching.
Oh my gosh, that's
Um,
so funny.
but yeah, I feel like video content, it can be intimidating, but over the years, I've definitely become a lot more confident. So I think like exposure therapy happens with the camera and like filming.
And
Um,
I find video too is it's definitely something where it's like practice not makes perfect, but it makes you a lot more comfortable. And like the more you get in front of a camera, the easier it is. Like I look at myself a year ago today and I watched some of my TikToks. I was like, oh my God, like why am I so like held back and like reserved in the way I'm speaking? Like I find now I'm a lot more confident. I'm a lot more out there than I was. So yeah, it's definitely something that takes time, but it is easy to gain the confidence, I think, if you keep with it.
yeah, I also feel like the more you talk to the camera, or like even like with podcasting, like your personality comes through a lot more easily and it feels a lot less forced, and it feels almost as if you're putting on less of a persona and it's just authentically yourself.
Yeah, it's easier. It's definitely less judgment.
So you share a lot on your TikTok, like how much you made from like brand deals, or how you worked with company X. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I feel like influencers and like learning how to be an influencer and like creating like a following out of that is also a big trend right now.
It totally is. And I remember starting my TikTok all about fashion and like posting outfits. And then I sort of had like a wake up call one day, and I was definitely inspired by other creators who were sharing how they grew their Instagram, and how they started working with brands. But the biggest thing I noticed is it was creators who were smaller sizes. And part of me was like, why don't bigger creators do this? Like, why don't the girls with 500,000 followers share how they got there? Because I think a lot of people would love to learn and figure it out. So I sort of just started with it, and I originally started with like, oh, I'm going to create a series on TikTok on how to get to 10K. And honestly did really well. It really helped me get to.
I feel like my list of things to buy, to do, activities that involve spending money is never ending around the holidays, making the idea of investing and saving and thinking about your future to be a little bit more challenging, a little bit more overwhelming. Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing for you, your kids, and your retirement, even during the holidays. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you. You don't need a ton of time. You can create your Acorns account and start automatically investing your money in just 5 minutes. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now. That could be $5 a day or even just your spare change. That's right, Acorns can round every purchase you make up to the dollar and automatically invest your spare change for you. And you can get bonus investments just for buying the stuff you need from the brands you love. I personally love Acorns. It's simplified the investment process, which can be overwhelming and intimidating, but it just makes it so simple, so easy, and something more accessible no matter how much money you have to invest. Head to acorns.com/Alana or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/Alana. I'm super excited about today's sponsor. They've sponsored the podcast before, and this is a topic I'm super passionate about. I fear that us as girls struggle with PMS far more than we should, and we really shouldn't. I truly get the worst PMS symptoms. My boobs are sensitive, my face breaks out, my sugar controllings are out of whack. I feel like I'm just a bottomless pit. My mood is not the vibe, and Estro Control has been super helpful in helping manage those PMS symptoms and making that time of the month a lot more enjoyable. Estro Control is a formula developed by Happy Mammoth, a supplement company dedicated to making women's lives easier. Say no more. Estro Control contains science-backed herbal extracts that help support hormonal health, especially if you are someone like myself who struggles with PMS. It was created to help women feel like themselves all month long and to not struggle with the feelings PMS can cause. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code Alana at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code Alana for 15% off today.
10K within a few months. And I just wanted to be really transparent, answer everyone's questions, and just share what I was doing that was working as well as what wasn't working, because Instagram and TikTok can be so overwhelming. I find like there's so much content you can put out there. There's so many different strategies or ways you could post that I might as well share what works for me, share the brands that work with smaller creators. And in the end, I think it really did pay off, and I got a really good like traction, and the audience just really loved it. So I definitely stuck with it, and it's helped a lot with my Instagram and TikTok journey.
Yeah, I actually love watching that content, especially if I'm in a rut with my own socials and like strategies that I'm using aren't working. It's a great and easy way to learn and to like pivot your strategy. What would you say are like your 3 top tips right now in December 2021 for anyone who, so maybe like do 3 tips for Instagram and 3 tips for TikTok, because they are different platforms, different algorithms. Like, what are your tips for people maybe looking to start or trying to grow their socials?
Yeah, so for TikTok, I would just say quantity over quality any day. Like, if you can post, it's sort of like the Victoria Paris method, where if you could just post as much as you can, I really think if one video picks up, it can blow up and you can gain so many followers. So I just think posting as many TikToks as possible is really important. Sticking with a niche on TikTok, I think, is also really important, because if you post one video and it does well and everyone's following you, they're going to want to see the content. Like, people are following you to see more of, let's say it's morning routines or how to grow your Instagram. So you kind of want to give your audience the content that they're following you for. And then the third one with TikTok, I would say, is really be as authentic as possible. I think that's a lot of how creators on TikTok are being so successful, is just being who they are, sharing things that you wouldn't share on Instagram. And then, yeah, it's just like a different platform that you don't get the same content on Instagram is what I would say for TikTok. Instagram's tricky because even myself, like for the last 3 or 4 months, I was only losing followers and not gaining. And it was like so stressful and I had so much anxiety about it. But over the last month, I feel like I've sort of like experimented and like tried to figure it out. And luckily I can say I've like gained quite a bit more followers over the last month. But I would say with Instagram is it's all reels. And I actually have been experimenting with reels, and I now I rotate between posting to my feed and then posting just to the reel section. But again, it is so different for everyone. So I would say definitely experiment with reels. And again, post as much as you can. I know it's overwhelming, but I think it is like pretty important to do. The another thing with Instagram, which I think you can't do on TikTok, is engaging on Instagram. I think is super important. Like commenting on your friends' pages and like replying to all your comments. I think the algorithm really likes it when you're liking more and like commenting back. I think it just helps pick up your position in the algorithm. And then the third thing I would say with Instagram is I think some people, and like myself included, get really focused on growth and like you have to constantly be growing where you kind of forget about the current audience you have. And I think Instagram's a really important place where just to remember like to engage with the current audience you already have in your DMs and posting on stories and sharing your life and just really keeping the people who already follow you engaged. Because like I said, like you can have people unfollow you on Instagram so quickly. So just trying to grab their attention as much as possible, I think can really help as well.
I love all of those so much. And Reels is like my number one thing, even like with all the clients that I manage for work. I'm like, we need more Reels. Like, we should be prioritizing like real content, even like our influencer campaigns. Like, we've totally switched from asking for static content primarily to asking for primarily video content in Reels or TikToks or both. Even Instagram announced it is now a video sharing platform. It is no longer a photo sharing platform. It clearly is the jealous social media platform. They copy everyone and they don't like do their own thing, but video is where it's at and it's where it's heading for most platforms. Like even YouTube came out with YouTube Shorts, which is
I
actually quite
saw that.
interesting because you can, if you have AdSense on like your YouTube partner, because YouTubers make money through ads. Like I'm a YouTube partner and I get like a little bit of money from like ads on my YouTube videos. My YouTube shorts also monetize. Like I can get revenue from my shorts, which is interesting because you can't get that like in terms of like just like built in like um passive income from
Right.
like your reels or your TikToks, but
And
on YouTube you can.
yeah, and I've heard of like being Canadian, I mean, I'm not that like focused on the creator front on TikTok, but like I don't even think it's for us Canadians. And then people were commenting on my TikTok saying it's like you need to join the bonuses on Reels. I'm like, I haven't even seen that. I don't even think they work. There's all that messaging around like if you like take on those bonuses and the creator fund, like it hurts your views and stuff like that. But yeah, I totally think like Instagram, like you said, is such a copycat, and it bugs me that it's turning into a video because I love the photo sharing aspect of Instagram, and I think it's honestly going to hurt them in the long run. Like I think another app's going to come in and take over photos, and then they're going to be like not what they are today. So it'll be so interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I find it so interesting to see how like social media platforms evolve and change over the years. Even like Snapchat, like no one uses Snapchat really anymore unless like you're some like fuckboy or something like trying to slide in. I literally had a guy like message me on Instagram the other day and he asked me for my Snapchat and I was like, I don't have it. I was like, that's always my answer. I don't have it. He's like, what do you mean you don't have it? I'm like, I don't have it. And then he like tried to get my number, I said no. And he's like, what, you don't want to talk? I'm like, no.
That's so funny. I honestly can't remember the last time I used Snapchat. Like sometimes I'll send my friends like a cute picture or video of something, but it is not my go-to at all. Like you're saying, Instagram. I forget which was first, if it was Snapchat stories or Instagram stories.
Snapchat had stories
Okay.
first, and it was weird to post on Instagram stories, and now
Yes.
it's weird to post on Snapchat stories, which is so freaking interesting. And I wonder if that's going to happen with Reels and TikToks, but I really don't think so.
I don't
TikTok
think
is so
so.
much better. I don't even like, I can only post like my aesthetic, like this is in my
Yeah.
head, but I feel like it's how it is. Like it's just like the culture of Instagram. Like I can only post like my aesthetic TikToks and repurpose them onto Instagram Reels versus on TikTok like I can do like in the moment like vlog content or like
Yeah.
very like laid back unfiltered stuff. And
Yeah.
like I'm sure I could do that on Instagram, but I feel like I can't. Like I feel like it has to be perfectly curated, but I still love that aspect of Instagram. But it's just like
Yes.
they're different.
I don't think I will ever post a reel of me like talking like I do on YouTube, like, or sorry, on TikTok. But I know it's different. Like you said, I am the same way. I even only post my reels to my feed if I feel like it's like top quality content. Like I just like could never just like repurpose any TikTok onto reels because I feel it's just like not what the platform wants. So I just think it wouldn't do well.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I feel like Instagram has this chokehold on us that we have to be perfect, like on it. Like, it has to be perfectly curated and like it has to be like proper. It's like a high class platform versus like TikTok is so like lax and like unfiltered.
No, I totally agree. Even when it comes to like working with brands, it's like I have double the amount on TikTok, but I don't know why in my head I see Instagram on like this like high end platform where like I charge more for my Instagrams than I do on my TikToks because I just see it as like such more valuable content, which is interesting. And sometimes it's like maybe I should be charging my TikToks more, but it's like I just see Instagram like as the platform and I see TikTok as a way to help grow my Instagram, which is like kind of twisted, but that's just how I've like done it for the last year. But yeah, and so I find that my content on Instagram, I need to charge more because it's like better quality than TikTok.
I totally feel that. And I even started my TikTok because I noticed that a lot of creators that were going TikTok first in terms of like being like a quote unquote influencer were A, blowing up faster, B, having a way more engaged following, C, having an engaged following that transferred over to Instagram. And they were having like such high engagement at like even lower
Mm-hmm.
following counts on Instagram. Like a really good like case study example of this is Caitlin Nolan. Like she literally blew
Yes,
up on
yes, I
TikTok
know.
and her following has transferred over so well to her other platforms because her TikTok followers are so engaged that they just want to see her on everything and every sort of medium. Like she has two Instagram accounts. She has like her fashion one and
Yeah,
her foodie one. And they both have like a substantial amount of followers, get really good engagement. It transferred over to YouTube well. And you don't see that if like someone just like only did like Instagram and then transferred to YouTube, or like they only did YouTube and then transferred to Instagram as well. Like the engagement and the following isn't there.
I couldn't agree more. And I think one thing that I've seen a lot recently too is I can't remember the last time I discovered someone on Instagram. Like
Yes.
everyone new that I followed comes from TikTok because I see a TikTok, I'm like, oh, they're cool. Oh, I love their style or their videos. Then I go into their TikTok, follow their TikTok, I click their Instagram, and then I follow their Instagram because I want to see more. And I really think, and I was talking about this with my sister because she isn't into social media, but she like likes to talk about it. And I was saying that the creators who became big in the last 5 years, if they don't start adapting to the video content, the TikTok content, I think they're going to get left behind. Not left behind, but I think there's going to be a huge shift to people who are like really taking advantage of videos and TikToks and like building that engaged audience. They're going to do so well. Like you're saying, like Kaylin Nolan, like she blew up so fast in a year where it's taken people years to build the following. So I think like it's really about like adapting to what the audience wants and like making sure you don't get left behind if you're not following like the new trends.
Yes, 100%. And I also think like what I is like still talking about Caitlin. I love her. Like we talk quite frequently, but what I realized, and this is like my business student like mindset, like marketing, like I'm pick up on all these things. She being super busy can make it really easy to fall into a dinner time recipe rut, or even with your lunches. Any meal, honestly, can get you into a rut, especially with a busy schedule this fall. You can keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every single week, so there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. It's truly a no-brainer. It does all the shopping and meal planning for you. Ingredients arrive at your doorstep, pre-proportioned and ready to cook, along with pictured step-by-step recipe cards. It's never been easier. I personally love HelloFresh as a way to get exposure to new recipes, make my life a bit easier as a busy 20-year-old in the city. And I love that it's worry-free, it's super easy, it's convenient, and gets delivered straight to my door. Go to hellofresh.com/50ray and use code 50ray for 50% off plus free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/50RAE and use code 50RAE, 50RAE for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, and thank you for sponsoring today's episode of Morning Ray.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Someone else could have been doing this before, but she was the first person I saw this. She took like the dancing trends and she applied it to her niche by adding text on top. And now you see so many other creators doing that. And I think that's like why she did so well, because she was entertaining and following the trends. So the algorithm really liked her, and people started watching her videos on when they came up on their For You page, because it was like a trending sound and a trending dance. But then they were getting like wrapped into like her health, wellness, like healthy like living content, while also dressing cute. So she was like combining like so many different things yet still being niche.
Yeah, and I find her very inspirational, and she's also like has no like bullshit fluffy content. I feel is something that you see on Instagram. And so with her, like you said, to build that platform on TikTok, get that engaged audience, and then keep it the same on Instagram and TikTok, like I think it's really helped her. But no, I totally agree. Yeah, she's such a good example of that.
It's crazy. I feel like most people start creating on Instagram and TikTok with the idea of like leaving like their 9 to 5 and being their own boss and being able to like be an influencer and like be a girl boss or like an entrepreneur and like have their own brand. I hate the word girl boss. Like I'm just be a boss. Yes.
Exactly.
And I know we have spoken a little about it. I'm not gonna like say it for you, but
okay, yeah. I'll give the insider tea. So I haven't announced it anywhere. I've only told close friends and family, but I am leaving my 9 to 5 come March 31st. Yes, it was such a scary, and well, it still is scary because like I still work my 9 to 5 right now. And I'm very lucky, one, that my job was so understanding. I mean, all my managers follow me on Instagram. They know it's like my passion. And so I'm doing like a bit of like an exit plan. So come March 31st, I will be on my own tackling the world of social media. And yeah, in all honesty, like I had talked about it with my parents so much. And I think I've talked about it for like the last 6 to 8 months, and they knew I wanted to do this. And honestly, if it wasn't for mostly my dad was like, there is so much potential in social media. Like, you would be silly not to. It's not like I don't make more than my 9 to 5. Like, it's not like I'm making crazy money and I'm going to go and like you said, girl boss the world. Like, it's going to take a lot of time and dedication and effort. But yeah, my family was super supportive. And like my dad, like I was saying, my dad was saying, either you do it now or you never do it, because there's so much potential. It's not like I have children. It's not like I have a mortgage. Like, I just have to see where it will go, and I think I will always regret it if I don't do it. So yeah, 3 months to go.
Oh my god, that's so exciting. Maybe one day I will join you. Do you
Absolutely.
have do you have any like tips or like strategies that you are preparing yourself like mentally and financially for leaving your 9 to 5 and like going off on your own? Like, are you setting like monthly goals of like how many brand deals you want? Like, have you thought about any of those things?
Yeah, so I think financially, one of my biggest things was I was lucky enough to have a job in university. So I have enough like in savings to sort of basically I just signed a lease. So it's also bad timing, but I signed a lease in Toronto. Like, these rents are ridiculous, but like I would have enough to get me to the end of my lease, and then if I really needed to, I could move back in with my parents. So like that was like my first thought. Um and then when it comes to like the brand deal side, like right now I would say I make like a half to a 2/3 of my salary, like from my 9 to 5. And so I think my focus is reaching out to brands. So that's something I actually have literally never done. All of my brand deals come from brands reaching out to me. So I think in some ways I limit myself with the potential of like how much I could be making. So that's like my focus, even starting January. Like, all of this I really want to do before I leave, so I can start like on my own with like a bit of traction and a bit of deals on the go. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try to like do a whole bunch of brand outreach, see what I can get from doing that. And then I just am gonna kind of see where it goes and like hope for the best. But like I was saying, my parents have been super helpful, and I'm really lucky to say, because they are on my side and like they want me to succeed. They did share that they could help me if I was like couldn't afford groceries. Like they would help me here and there. So I'm really lucky I have that. But in terms of strategy for my social media, I think I just want to like content overload and like really try YouTube, post more on TikTok, really share more of my life, give it 150%. And then I also would love to sort of take the more like business angle, like create a website where like all my content is in one area, maybe even make like presets that I could sell, or I don't know, like make media kit templates. Like, I'm just trying to like think of ways that I could like bring it not so much as like me sharing my life, but into like a business mode, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my thoughts so far, but honestly I need to think about it more than I have. But that's what I've got so far.
No, I totally back that. I'm all about diversifying your income. So you don't want to, this is like me giving you a little bit of like a business insight.
I need it
Um,
seriously.
diversify your income as like much as you can. Like, have as many streams as possible. You can't rely solely on brand partnerships. Yes, they are great. Yes, they can be a primary source of income for you because you can get quite a big amount for a smaller piece of work. And then like diversify it with like say like the presets or the brand kits or offering like consulting services, or even like look at what Neat Sand Raider came out with.
Yeah.
Like, she came out with mind your business, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Like, it's a course, like essentially what you do for like free on your like reels. Stuff like that is super great. Try get on YouTube, because then you can, once you get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, you can monetize. And even if it starts off as like a small amount of money each month, like, I'll be transparent, I think I obviously right now it's been a bit lower because I haven't been as consistent on YouTube, but I average between like $100 to $200 in AdSense a month. What? That's like groceries, or that's
Oh
like
yeah,
you're
everything
dining
helps.
out. Like, it helps, everything helps. I would lean into like affiliate marketing. So
Yeah.
like get on like magic links if you're not, get on like reward style. Do you like it to know it, or like it to whatever, like
Are
that like
you
fashion one?
a quick question. Are you on those? Because I've tried Like to Know It, and I was pulling my hair out. I thought it was so frustrating. Like I just couldn't figure it out.
I'm like on like I got approved onto all these platforms. I mostly use Magic Links.
Okay, I'm gonna look up that one.
I would reach out to, I can't remember her name right now. Her name is Mariah. I'll send you her handle.
Okay.
We're having like a full on conversation. You guys are like getting like the inside tea. She uses Like to Know It a lot. I'm not really sure how to use it. I know you can sync it with like your Instagram, and then you essentially make like little like blog link pages that like you can do one link on your story, and it's like tap here for my outfit, and then you can have like your shirt, and then if you click on your shirt it will take you to where you got your shirt, and you get like a commission from that, and then like your pants and your scarf.
Is she Canadian?
No, she's American.
Okay, because I also follow a girl and she's so good with her Like to Know It, which inspired me. Then I got approved, and it was like there was like 4 links that worked for Canadians. So that's why I was like so discouraged. I was like, oh, I guess
try Magic Links.
Okay,
I
I'm
love
going
it.
to.
And they have really good commission rates. I really like it, and you can do the same sort of thing now, like the Like to Know It, like the little blog thing. Like even like if I put links in like the description of my YouTube video, it will pull those and make like a little like link page, like website thing that I could then link somewhere else, like on my Instagram,
Right.
of like
Okay, I'm gonna try that.
everything. So Magic
Thank you.
Links.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. But apparently like people make like tons of like money in affiliate links. I just don't have the time for it. But you'll have the time for it.
I will.
So you better
no
do
excuse.
it.
No excuses. I'm gonna have to. That's the problem. I'm gonna have no excuses come March when I gotta figure all this out.
And then another tip I would say, because like even I was looking as like, how much would I have to make on a monthly basis to make 6 figures from influencing or like working for myself? And I was like, okay, so 6 figures, we're going just for a straight 100,000. That's, I remember all these numbers. I'm really great at numbers. That's $8,333.33 per month before taxes deducted that I need to generate in revenue. So then I was like, okay, so I have to make that much each month. So what is that in brand deals? Well, for a reel or TikTok, I charge $2,000. So I could do like 4 of those, and then I could do like some posts or something. I don't know. I like started to break it down. So I would like set a goal for yourself and be like, okay, how much money do I want to make in a year? How much would I like to make monthly? And then break it down into like different ways you could reach that number. So like, for example, like maybe you start like managing someone's social. So that's like,
I've thought of
and
that.
you charge like $1,000 a month for that. So then that's like $1,000 knocked off. And then you want like 4 big brand deals and like 2 small ones. And then you'll get like $100 from like commission links or something. Like it's like a puzzle.
I think too, when I like first decided I was gonna quit my 9 to 5, it was like my first goal is to make more than what I make. And like fully transparent, it's not like I have an amazing salary. Like it's gonna be impossible to compete with. So that was my first thought. And then I even remember like my moment of realization where I was like, okay, I think I need to quit my 9 to 5 is like making more from like a 10-second reel than I did in a 40-hour work week. Like that was one of my biggest realizations. I was like, there's so much potential. I'm gonna regret it if I don't do it. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm gonna have to set those goals for myself and see where it goes.
I think like I think it's important. People are like, don't get too caught up in the numbers. I think if you like just have like a general like understanding, like a big picture of like what you want like the year to look like, and then each month, and you kind of just like strive to land among the stars, that will really help like motivate you and kind of keep you on track and like ease like a bit of like the financial stress that comes with like working for yourself. But I think it's really great that you have savings. It's always important to have a rainy day fund. I have one. I'm excited for you. I'm really excited to see where you are in a year's time. Where do you want to be? Let's do some like manifestations.
Oh, okay. Well, the problem I find with social media is like stuff can come out of the blue. Like I remember writing my goals for 2021 and it was like 10K on Instagram. And I remember saying I wanted to get my first paid collab. Like I hadn't even got a paid collab. And I remember writing down I want to work with like brands that I thought were like a 5-year goal, like Urban, Aritzia, and Princess Polly. And somehow I've worked with them all this year. So I always think, like you said, like I'm shooting among the stars and gonna see where I land. But I think a year from now, I would love. I get stressed out if I put a specific number on my following, but I would love to probably double my following. Like TikTok, I have 30, so 60. Instagram, I'm just over 16, so over 30 at least. Just really grow my platforms. And then I would love to, I think making more than my current salary would be amazing, even if it's not the full year's worth, like it's in the latter half of 2022, like the 6 months, make more than my current salary. And then I think one thing too is like trying to really push YouTube. Like I mentioned a bit, I don't do YouTube, or I have a bit, but I would love to really push myself on YouTube, see where I can go with that, and monetize YouTube. And then I do want to create something that's mine, like presets, or like you said, sort of like what Needs and Raider does, like a course, something that is not owned, like because we don't own our social medias in that way. So it's like having something that is all mine, I can monetize myself. But I think those are like my pretty basic goals. And then I'll probably create some like crazy goals, like maybe a fun edit with a brand or something like out there just to see what's achievable. But yeah, I think that's where I would start with for next year.
I love that. I'm so excited for you. And I feel like we're going to have to do a podcast episode in a year's time and
Yes,
like
that'd be so fun.
listen back like on these goals and like see where we are. Like, honestly, I'm the same way with numbers. Like, for my following, like, even for 2021, I set the goal of hitting 100,000 downloads on my podcast, and I've almost tripled it.
That's amazing.
Thank you. So like it really is possible. Like I did not think that would happen. Now I've set, my mom's like, set your goal for like 1 million downloads. I'm like, that's a little ambitious. We're gonna go for 500,000.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, it feels good to like surpass your goal. So we're going a little ambitious, but not too ambitious.
No, I totally agree with that. I always love sort of lowballing because when I pass it, I get like really motivated to keep going. And I'm worried.
Because then you're like, oh, I can double it.
Exactly. And I remember at the beginning of this year in January, I was like thinking I'm going to hit 10K at the end of this year. And I remember saying to myself, that's a stretch. Like I've only 6 months in, like this is going to be a stretch. And then I hit it in like July or August. So yeah, I'm definitely probably going to lowball myself again, but then find the motivation when I hit those numbers to like up it or like keep going and then not get discouraged if I don't. But yeah.
You've got this. You got this.
Thank you.
It's crazy because like I've been growing I've been doing this for 4 years. And to put it all into perspective, at the beginning of COVID, like March 2020, I had just hit 8,000 followers. And the beginning of this year, I had just hit 20,000. And now I'm at, I think it's 44. I'm like getting close to 50.
That's so exciting.
Which is crazy. I think like, I keep saying like when I hit like 30, when I hit 40, when I hit 50, like it's going to be like, holy shit. But I think like actually when I hit 50, it's going to be like, that's a big number.
Is there a specific number or would it be like financials for you to like take it full time?
I think consistency and financials. Because like right now, like some months like are really good and some months are a bit like slower. I know it's never going to be super consistent, but I think more consistency in terms of financials, whatever that looks like, whether it be like brand deals or me having like figured out a better way to have passive income, like having a product or something. Or like when I can't balance everything anymore. I'm somehow balancing a million things. I don't know how to do it. And I'm having a social life.
It's the grind. No, that's amazing though.
It's a lot. But I think when I feel like financially secure and confident enough, because right now, I mean, I really could. Like 60% of my income, I would say, is from my own things.
Right.
But it's not like I like the financial freedom that I kind of have right now. And I'm not ready to give that up just yet. So until I can feel that without a job.
Right.
Well, I mean, it is a job, but like hired by someone.
Like the consistent paycheck. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I think that we shall see. Maybe I will set my New Year's resolution that by 2023, I'm an independent girl.
Yeah. No, I remember thinking when I started my corporate job, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this for full years and reevaluate. And it wasn't even a full year and I was like, gone. But I also remember thinking like I think there will never be a right time. Like you'll never know. I just remember literally, I kid you not, I woke up one day and I was like, I'm going to tell my manager today, like I'm going to leave because I was just like in me and I was like, this isn't the right time. It's not even like I make enough money, but I went for it. So.
Was it scary having that talk?
Yeah, no, honestly, like I was almost in tears because I think I also just felt I didn't feel bad and I didn't want to feel like I think my biggest problem is have been so kind to me and supportive.
Yes.
And like I remember telling them I did Instagram on the side and they're like, oh, that's amazing. And they like followed me and they supported me and they've like offered me so much throughout the past year. So when I said to them, like, I don't think I see myself here long term, I was like shaking and I was like almost crying because honestly, I did feel bad because I didn't want to let them down, but they were so kind. And my manager was like, oh, like you're young, like do what you can always get a corporate job. Like you're breaking my heart. That's what she said. She's like, you're breaking my heart, but like you have to do, yeah. She's like, you just have to do like in what you want to do and follow your passion. So it was such a hard conversation, but I think it obviously had it to happen, but it was difficult. And I couldn't think about it too much before, or else I like would have thrown up.
Do you maybe have any tips on like how you thought about like structuring the conversation for someone who maybe wants to leave like their 9 to 5 and work for themselves?
Yeah, so I sound crazy, but I actually wrote out like pointers of like what I wanted to touch on because I really wanted to make sure I was like one thanking them and like said I want to like I actually started off by saying I have some unfortunate news. Like I am just being presented with personal opportunities that I really think I need to pursue in the new year, but I want to like thank you and I'm so thankful for like the last year of working with you and I've learned so much. And then I think one thing, and I know everyone won't have this option, but I asked them, I was like, what do you need from me to make this exit easy? And so that's why I actually have such a long lead time because I'm the only person in my current role at my job. And so if I was to like give them 2 weeks, I think it would really hurt them and like it would really like damage the last half of the year because like they would need someone to fill the position and to like train someone would take like 3 months. So they asked me if I could stay till March and train someone or 2 people to fill the position before I left. So I was very okay with that. I said, yes, like I will stay as long as you want. So when I did this, it was in October and I'm leaving in March. So it was like a 6-month exit. But I think if you don't have the option to like obviously give them 6 months of your time, you could just share like, is there anything I could do before I leave? Like if you need to write up like hiring or like steps for the new hire or stuff like that, just say your thank yous and just like offer them something you can do for them in the end.
Yeah, that's what I did as well. As like I gave 3.5 weeks notice.
Yeah.
And as like I made it very clear, like I don't want to leave you hanging. Like I want you to feel confident with me leaving the company and someone taking over my role, whether there's an overlap or not. And I want to like make sure that everything is set up for success and all the ducks are like aligned in a row. So like I literally planned out socials like so far ahead like than what anyone else in this industry would probably do. Like I did like 2 months worth
like content filled out. Like everything is scheduled. Like I have creators making content for us. Like I've written out all the processes. So like biggest tip, like give back to your boss.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't like them, like my boss was great. He like does everything and like was so kind to me, which is why it was so hard. But just like give back in any which way you can, and like think about like how would you want to be helped if you were in their shoes.
Exactly. And I think it's so important too. It's like for something like this too, I have no idea where it could go in the next year. Like maybe I find myself working back with them because I love the company. And even my manager, she said to me, she's like, you can come back whenever you want. Like there's always a job here for you. And I think making sure you keep that relationship strong to have that option. And like I'm going into influencer like marketing, and they are a brand that does that. So who knows, like maybe they'll want to work with me in the future, and like, or maybe I help them with their social media strategy in the future. Like you never know. So I think just really keeping that relationship strong could be so helpful.
Yes, you never want to burn a bridge. Your network is your net worth, and it's like can help you in so many different ways. It can open so many different doors. If you take one thing from this episode, like make those connections and like really value keeping them, whether it's like at your corporate 9-to-5 or with the influencer managers or like other influencers or your followers, like whoever it may be, like really like foster those connections and those relationships, and who knows, they could help you down the road.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
And let's wrap it up. What is one piece of advice? It can be like relevant to this episode. It could be like life advice, whatever that you want to leave the listeners with.
Okay, one of my favorite quotes, and I forget if it's from, but it is, you are 100% responsible for your life. So I always think back to that and how you get to make all your decisions. You get to create the life path. So just go for everything you want to do in your life and don't hold back.
I love that so much. And plug yourself out, Allie. Where can the listeners find you?
So my Instagram and TikTok are the same handle. It's Allie Grieve. My YouTube is also Allie Grieve. And yeah, I try to cross promote. So if you're on one platform, it will hopefully lead you to another.
That's so exciting, guys. Go follow her. Watch her live out her dreams. You will love Allie as much as I do. If you guys enjoyed this episode of Morning Ray, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe, as that's how you can help support the pod. Keep us trending. Keep us in the charts. It's crazy. We're in the Apple Podcast charts. Who is letting me be there? I don't know, but you guys are clearly. And I hope you guys love this episode. And I love you guys so much. And we'll chat soon. Bye, guys.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.